I've been married to my wife for 15 years and our son is 18. I think I was a good father to him, always present, always supporting him. I was the first he talked to when he had a bullying problem, a math problem, and when he needed romantic advice. He's straight but likes cross-dressing and doing makeup, and I was the first one to support him on that too, while his mom was trying to make him more masculine. However, recently I discovered he's not actually my child. My mother-in-law said she had to tell me something important, so I met her and she told me that my child was actually my wife's high school boyfriend's baby. She gave birth at 20, but apparently she was cheating on me with her old boyfriend. My mother-in-law said my wife told her the truth after he was born because she'd suspected that the baby didn't exactly look like me. Mother-in-law confronted her about it, but the baby was already born and nothing could be done. I was mad and asked her why she was telling me this right now. She told me it was because she saw my son hanging out with his bio dad at a park and believed he was back in their lives. I decided not to shoot the messenger and confronted my wife and son about this. After a long argument, they told the truth. The bio dad was back and wanted to meet his real son. A lot of crap happened, and I'm divorcing and also cutting my wife's son out of my will because I never had a real son. All this time I was putting all my energy and effort into raising another man's child. I'm also having a consultation to see if it's possible to sue the bio dad for all the money I've spent raising his bio son throughout the years. My wife is obviously mad at me, but my stepson is just devastated. I can see him depressed, not talking to me and constantly apologizing. My plan was to divorce and cut contact with them right after that, but now I'm wondering if I'm going too far by punishing him too. Am I the idiot for removing my wife's child out of my will because I discovered he's not mine? Edit, the kid knew about his bio dad for about 4 months before I discovered it. And yes, we did a DNA test. The kid insisted on a lot of it, and after it came back negative, I think his depression really hit. Not the idiot. My wife is obviously mad at me. For what? Is she getting nosebleeds from that mighty high horse of hers? Heck, can she be sued for fraud? OP's entire married life and family life was one big lie. And why would the son be devastated that he knew OP wasn't bio dad, but never told OP about it, or the visits with bio dad? Also, it's pretty convenient for bio dad to come into the picture when his financial duties would be over. Son also got depressed after the paternity test, so I'm guessing he was clinging to the hope that it wasn't true and didn't tell OP because he didn't even know if he believed it yet. It sounds from everything else like the son is as devastated as OP. The son sees OP as his dad. I think OP should cut his wife out, but not the son. This could destroy the child's life. He needs to go to his son, give him a hug, and tell him that he will always be his dad. Agreed, punishing the son is ridiculous. The only thing he did wrong was not tell OP for 4 months when he didn't even have a DNA test to confirm. The kid was probably in shock. 4 months is not a lifetime. Not to mention his mother probably told him he wasn't supposed to say anything. And what are you supposed to do when one parent tells you to keep a secret from another? It's an impossible situation to put your child in, and incredibly selfish on her part. My God, this is the only answer. You are the idiot. Do not destroy a young man's life because the mother is a piece of crap. He looks at you as his dad. Don't take that away from him because he needs you now and will continue to need you. You will damage him greatly if you cut him off. That poor kid. He's not at fault for this situation, but he is being punished for it. How do you think he feels finding out the man he has known as his dad his entire life isn't, and now is tossing him aside? I don't know if my husband is doing this on purpose or if he can't control himself, but he knows it bothers me and still does. He thinks the sun shines out of sister-in-law's butt. Nothing she says or does is wrong. When we visit, he will talk about her for 3 or 4 days afterward like he's in a trance. We visited last weekend to see the new baby. I swear he was paying more attention to her and the baby than he ever did with me and any of our children. He complimented everything from how she looked, how clean the house was, and the delicious food, how she even made the bread, how she remembered our favourite dishes, snacks and desserts. You are a superwoman. I had it with him and said enough a couple of times, but he just ignored me, and she just giggled and welcomed the compliments. Since we got home, he's been talking about how great and perfect she is. I had enough, so I told him to go have intimacy with her if he was so in love. He looked at me without expression and said, "Very mature." I broke down and asked why he was doing this, knowing that I was completely the opposite of her, to the degree that we weren't even close. He knows we're the opposite of each other. I'm not Little Miss Perfect. I don't clean the windows while my infant is sleeping. I don't cook and clean when I've just given birth, and I sure can't lose my baby weight in 3 weeks. Why is he so insensitive to my feelings? Even if it is true and I'm just jealous, and my jealousy is unfounded, isn't the fact that I'm hurt and uncomfortable enough for someone who is supposed to love me to just stop? Am I the idiot? Edit, she's husband's brother's wife. If you've set that clear boundary and reminded him multiple times that that makes you uncomfortable and he continues to do so, you are not the idiot. It's fair for you to be upset after repeatedly stating that you don't like him consistently speaking about her like that. Start complimenting your husband's brother, non-stop. Have you been working out? You should teach your brother how to stay in such great shape. You're such a great dad. I wish your brother would follow your example. He barely notices our kids. Watch his eyes start to twitch, lol. Or sister-in-law's giggling is nervous laughter because she doesn't know how to deal with all the compliments. She's laughing because she doesn't know what to say and is uncomfortable. I'd like to know how his brother feels about it as well. If it's making everyone uncomfortable, next time OP can say, yes dear, we all love sister-in-law's meal, whatever it is, but please relax, you're making everyone uncomfortable. I've been taking my tween stepdaughter to dance classes for 4 years. I drive her every week and my husband, her dad and I pay for every single fee associated with her dance school. This year, her end-of-year recital lands on her mother's custodial time. Her mom has committed to taking her to the show. I volunteered to be the backstage parent, managing the class backstage when they were not performing, helping with hair and makeup, etc. I did this for the last 2 recitals and my stepdaughter loves having me there to hang out and support her. The dance school told me yesterday that my stepdaughter's mother asked them to remove me as a backstage parent and put her in. They agreed to do it without discussing it with me first because she basically told them it was her custodial right. To be clear, nothing in their court order says anything that would prevent me from being able to be around her even though she's not in Dad's custody. Mom and I have a history of high conflict. I believe she's trying to remove me because she doesn't want me to spend any extra quality time with her daughter. She hates me and my husband. If you're wondering, I have nothing to do with why she and my husband never worked out. I could bow out and accept this because I'm not the biological parent, but it breaks my heart because I love being there and dance is my thing with my stepdaughter. Am I the idiot if I reminded the school who their paying customer is and asked them to go back on the decision and advocate for me? I want to fight back and give them all the context so they understand why I have the right to be there, but I also don't want more conflict with the mom, who would be upset if the school had my back. If you're wondering, I don't think she would go to the lengths of not taking her to the recital over this because she must know that would be devastating to her daughter, who's worked hard to prepare for her performance. I don't know what the best way for this to play out. Edit, my stepdaughter has a wonderful relationship with me and asked me if I would be her backstage parent again because she had so much fun with me for the past 2 recitals when I did it. However, I think she wouldn't mind her mom being there either, even though she's never been involved with her dance life. Despite our drama, we do a good job of shielding the child from the conflict, so she would be happy either way. You are the idiot. The recital is during the mom's custodial time. Doesn't it make sense that she might want to experience that with her daughter too? Why are you assuming it's a vendetta against you? You should attend the recital and kindly explain to your daughter that you will be there, but her mom wants to be the backstage mom. Don't drive a wedge between them and make sure your stepdaughter knows you still love and support her. Don't alienate her from mom. She shouldn't have called the school behind your back. She pulled rank and that wasn't right. However, you need to accept that although you and your husband pay for the classes, you don't have ownership over the activities. She doesn't want to share her parenting time with you, and she doesn't have to. You're the stepmom, but she's the mom. If she would prefer that you step aside during her parenting time, that is what should happen. Your husband can enforce the same boundary during his parenting time. Update, I called the dance school but didn't have them change their decision. I gave them all the context. I should have clarified in my original post that she lied to them and implied I wasn't legally allowed to be there on her time, which is not true. The owner of the school says he feels completely manipulated by her mom. He apologized. He offered to make it right and said he and his wife, co-owner, were comfortable reaching out to mom and telling her that I'm the backstage mom. They also said it would never happen again. I told them I really appreciated that they're owning up to how it went down, but I told them I would rather take the high road and leave it at that. I told them not to reach out to mom, let her have it. I also apologized to them for having to deal with drama that should have been handled by our family privately. The only thing that matters to me is that my stepdaughter has had a wonderful experience. I could have won this, but it wouldn't have been worth it if it had created even an inkling of stress for my stepdaughter on her big day. My plan is to tell my stepdaughter, "Hey, I know I said I'd be backstage this year, but great news, your mom wants to do it. You guys will have so much fun together. I'm glad she'll be there for you." Then I'll be in the audience with a bouquet of flowers and a huge smile on my face. Thanks to everyone here, even the idiots, LOL. Yesterday, I, 45 male, observed a neighbourhood teenage boy trespassing on my property. I decided to say something to him as this is not the first time and we have signs posted, "Private property no trespassing." There are 2 signs posted at both ends of a temporary dirt accessway used by landscaping and construction vehicles. I observed the teen jogging up the accessway from one house away while walking my dogs. My wife, 42, was also with me. She knows him better than I do. My wife got his attention by yelling from one house away, "Hey, name, you know you're not supposed to be on there. What are you doing?" To which the boy shrugged and said he didn't know. I chimed in with, "Did you see the signs?" To which he replied, "Yes." I followed with, "And you can read, right?" The boy confirmed he could, and I continued with, "Then you should know you can't be on there. That's our yard, not public space. Please don't cut through our yard." The boy was out jogging, and with our message made clear, my wife and I didn't see the point in taking it any further. So we said goodbye and the boy jogged off. The boy's mother, 40s, was walking down the street towards us immediately after the boy jogged off. My wife and the boy's mother are neighbourhood friends, a friend group of ladies that does social events like concerts, brunch, parties, etc. But that's about it. The boy's mother asked my wife what happened because she saw or heard us talking to her son. My wife explained the situation, and the mother said she didn't know the accessway wasn't public property and doubled down saying she and her family used it all the time. At this point, I'd already said goodbye, started walking back to the house with the dogs as the ladies talked and I needed to get the dogs home. Around an hour later, I got a social media message from the father, 40s male, asking me to call him. I called the father and he asked me what happened, so I relayed the story, as above what happened, what was said, how it ended, etc. The father told me I was an idiot to his son and I shouldn't have said anything to the boy. Instead, I should have called the father and he would have handled it. I reiterated my points to the father that the accessway on our property is temporary for construction access only, there are signs posted, our social media posts, the HOA letter, etc., how the boy admitted to seeing them and ignored them anyway, and why I said what I said as a light-hearted way to say, "Stay off our property." The father came back with, "If you want to be an idiot to a kid, then that says a lot about who you are." This went back and forth a few times, me repeating my points and wondering why the father wanted to talk in the first place, and the father called me an idiot for saying what I did to his son. So am I the idiot for asking a teenage boy if he could read after ignoring posted no trespassing signs? Or mommy and daddy swooped in because you scared their little boy? I would argue that dad's inability to accept the tiniest consequence for his kid, the kid being slightly embarrassed, says a lot about him. This is ridiculous, not the idiot. Teachers deal with this all the time. Parents don't like their babies to get hurt fifis. I hate being that way, especially as a bit older, Gen Z, but most parents have started to develop a "nobody can say anything to my baby" attitude that just seems to worsen some bad behaviour. Now, do I think there was a possibility the kid might have framed it in a different light? Yes, but ultimately you would have had some responsibility if the kid had gotten hurt on your property. Next time, instead of calling the dad, you call the police for trespassing. You are the idiot. You're within your rights to demand he stay off your property, but you aren't very neighbourly. The kid was jogging on the road, not riding his bike over your flower beds. Sure, the road is yours, and if you want to enforce it, you can. Still, you're the grumpy guy the neighbours don't like. You probably alienated your wife from her social group over something petty. Finally, someone sees the bigger picture. There are some nutters in this thread talking about calling the police. Some people really need to get a grip. Like, come on, who cares? Is your lawn that precious that a kid can't jog through it? They are such small potatoes. I don't get why anyone would get upset over this. Not very neighbourly and seemingly unnecessary to enforce. You're the "get off my lawn" guy. Why not just be the friendly neighbour? I, 28 female, was asleep earlier while my husband, 31, was looking after our brand new baby. Later, when I woke up, my husband told me that he'd changed her and fed her while I was asleep. I just said something like, "Okay, cool," and then went to go get food. He followed me and repeated himself again, and I just looked at him because, okay. He started complaining that I didn't appreciate him helping out, and I laughed because I thought he was joking. When I realized he wasn't, I told him he was doing the bare minimum. I love him, obviously, and I love raising our daughter together, but why should I praise him for looking after his baby? That's his job as a dad, and I'd be worried if he didn't look after her while I was asleep. I told him that he was being childish, and he got really annoyed and said he wanted me to acknowledge him for helping out more. I reassured him he was a good dad. Still, I reminded him that that was the first time he looked after her while I was asleep. Every time I stayed awake while he slept, he never once praised me because looking after our child is the bare damn minimum. He told me that I was overreacting and asked me to apologize. After I refused, he told me he was going to stay with his parents for the night and left. Not the idiot. He isn't helping out. He's doing what any father should, and that's looking after the baby. Helping out implies he's doing you a favor, which he isn't. It's his responsibility. What he did is what's called parenting. This is no helping out or minding the baby, which is another one I often hear. It's literally a job, a duty. A question for him would be, if I drop dead today, how would you manage all by yourself? Would it be helping out? How he's looking at it is like he did something extra above and beyond. He deserves an award. If I drop dead today, how would you manage? With his attitude, he'd probably be the type to marry the first person he sees so he doesn't have to take care of the baby, or just move back with his parents so his mom does the baby minding. He'd moved in, temporarily after storming out, with his parents. Wow, OP, it sounds like you have 2 babies. He needs a reality check. I hope his parents will help you in that regard. By running away, he's basically making you a single parent. I'm worried for you. It sounds like a long road ahead with little to no help. I hope he sees the light and steps up.